The girl, who was only identified by her initials AS, was actually on her neighbor's porch this morning, still wearing those handcuffs when she told them that she had been abused. All the cards must be shuffled, then placed face down on the table. Each candidate will put their hand on whichever card they feel is the lucky winner. They're going to flip it over, and whoever has the highest card will win this election. Trying to connect with the people here, and I have Captain Aquista here, who's just sharing a little bit about what you guys are doing tonight.
Yeah, so we're out here, we're letting people do pull-ups. There you go. Hi.
Wow, you got a regatta, guys.
Oh, there we go.
Well, there were 146 crashes last year on the 58-mile marker, so we're testing the road today to see how fast drivers are going on this curve. You put it really well when you said it was like a rushing river, because honestly, that's exactly what this interstate looked like tonight. And I mean, cars were just backed up bumper to bumper. 24/7, you can always come here to UUG, and you can actually find naloxone boxes for free here in this community box. Police and firefighters are actually trying to pull a vehicle out of the Canal River behind me here, and they believe that there is a person inside the vehicle. I'm not going to move out of the way since they're still working right now, but here at Hope for All, they're actually trying to break those barriers. So here women are able to live and bring their children here so they can not only get the help they need, but so that they're not also separated from their families. Body camera video from 2 years ago showed Officer Winters grabbing Michael Scott Jr. right on the same road where I'm standing and slamming him to the ground. And the emotion that you could feel during the ceremony today was so powerful, and it really just went to show just how much of an impact that he left behind without even knowing it. Another West Virginia hero is laid to rest.
You know, he was a Purple Heart recipient in Vietnam.
But at this service, the dozens of people who showed up to pay their respects didn't even know him.
I didn't personally know anything about him. I just found out a few days ago. I decided we'd come down.
U.S. Army Specialist Ronald Tittle died on March 29th, according to his death certificate. He was also homeless.
There's more to just serving in the military. Some guys come home broken.
I'm sure it happens more than we like to admit.
And what's worse, he had no family here.
I just know we got a text saying that he had no friends, and we said, we can't let that happen. He's got plenty of friends here. I wish he knew it.
So on this day, a new family, complete strangers, adopted him.
So I just know that he was a Vietnam vet, and he won't be forgotten.
While Ronald Tittle's life story may be a mystery, a grateful community will always be thankful for his bravery.
Unquestionably a hero, so he deserves the honor and respect that we're going to give him.
A true hero never dies until his name is spoken for the last time.
A turning point.
We're going to trip up. I'm going to tell you right now.
For Tyler Mountain Volunteer Fire Department.
We're going to do the right thing.
And Barry Holstein, only 1 month into his position as a board member, is helping the department switch gears.
But I felt this was an opportunity for me to give back to the communities.
5 board members walked away from Tyler Mountain Fire Department's board tonight, except for Barry Holstein. I asked him today why he stayed, and he said it's because he wants to make sure that coverage continues for cross lanes. He said that's why he joined in the first place.
And when everybody made the decision to resign, I chose to continue with my mission, and my mission was to come on and serve at least through September.
Remember, the fire department here belongs to the community. It does not belong to the county, does not belong to the state. The county is very concerned.
That's after 5 board members, including Chief Louis Robinson, officially resigned Thursday night. Resignation letters and an 89-page document list issues and alleged wrongdoings within the department. Allegations like improper elections and misappropriation of funds, all pointing to a need for change.
And I haven't seen the document you're referring. I'll be very open, transparent, as you saw tonight.
Barry says more firefighters who resigned are coming back to serve to make sure that cross lanes is taken care of.
So I think tonight is a good indication of what you can expect from me.
even amidst unusual changes and an even more non-traditional board meeting.
I just ask that they give the fire department a little bit of patience, a little bit of grace.
The new leaders told me that this fire is not going to hold them back from their mission. You can still see the damage where pieces of someone's shoes that are just charred from that fire are still on the ground, along with parts from the car, and even melted pieces of that sign are still hanging down 5 days later. Now, beyond that fire, there have been other struggles that couple who wants to make a difference has had to walk into, but they say that those challenges are not going to hold them back from their mission to help.
I grew up in Wellsboro, West Virginia.
Kathy Michaels has always found peace from the Salvation Army.
And I come from a very split family. My dad was married before he married my mom and had 8 kids.
And she found love in the Salvation Army. She found ministers, my parents, who were willing to pour into her and give to her.
And they made me feel like I wasn't left out.
The Salvation Army and those ministers gave her more than just support.
The picture shows my mother and father-in-law.
And she said, when we got married, you know what? I want to do that too. I want to be that person for that little girl that's living in an alternate household.
So Kathy and her husband of 40 years get to do just that. Their journey with the Salvation Army has been an adventure.
We went to seminary about 12 years ago, and we were living in Charleston, South Carolina before we came here, and just before Charleston, South Carolina, we were in Kingston, Jamaica.
And now they're being brought back to their roots, this time as area commanders.
I understand what's going on with the Salvation Army. I understand when people walk in the door and say, hey, I need help, or hey, this is going on, because I just want you to know that I've been through it.
But since coming back, there's been struggles.
And the only thing that's limiting us from doing more is our resources. Right now, we're barely making ends meet, or sometimes not even making ends meet.
Friday's fire was the last straw.
It's probably about a $10,000 outlay just to get the sign back.
Since coming back 1 month ago, the Michaels say they need help continuing that mission.
We want to be where we can help everybody in the community even more than we're doing now.
Music and movement. A typical Sunday morning church service. But this Huntington church is anything but typical.
I'm the pastor who founded the ministry There Is Hope.
It's called Hay Esperanza, which means there's hope.
There's hope because it's something that gives the possibility for the Hispanic population to find support and exit, and to know that they're not alone.
Pastor Henry Garcia came a long way from home.
Medellin to Huntington, it's a huge change.
More than 2,000 miles to be exact.
I've spent 10 years here in the U.S.
Growing up in Colombia with a background in business, his life mission became serving and loving others.
We started with church planting in Colombia, and we ended up planting a lot of churches in Colombia, also in Costa Rica and Peru.
10 years ago, he felt a new calling on his heart.
Continue planting churches and learn English.
That's when Henry's life changed forever.
They wrote to me and said, Henry, if you want to come to the U.S. to plant the first Hispanic church in Huntington, at the same time, you'll have the possibility to learn English.
In 2014, he made Huntington his new home.
I come here with 0 English, but now I say joking is my level now is 1.
Planting Hay Esperanza and teaching in Spanish.
In Spanish, because a huge part of this population doesn't speak English, and if they don't speak it, they become isolated.
Helping people.
I was born in the U.S., but I grew up in Mexico.
Like Pamela Delgado, who's attended Hay Esperanza for a year.
When I arrived here 2.5 years ago, it was a cultural shock and a language shock, because really I said, where are the Hispanics?
Yo decía, ¿dónde hay hispanos? Para mí
For me, it was complicated because I wasn't accustomed to speaking the language.
Another church member, Jessica Monje from El Salvador, has lived in Huntington for 12 years.
I came with a good base of English, but in reality here, it's completely different. People speak really fast, shorten words.
But Hay Esperanza gives people like Jessica, Pamela, and their families a safe space to speak without fear of discrimination or hostility.
Servicio cristiano en español.
To do a Christian service in Spanish gives moments that aren't just an opportunity to pray to God, but to identify yourself with people that speak your language.
Con gente que habla su mismo idioma. Es bastante especial.
It's just so special in the moment when we do something in Spanish in a place where so much English is spoken.
Preserving Spanish is more than language. It's part of their identities.
Que siempre sepan dónde.
It's important that you always know where your life originates. For me, it's important that my daughters have this and that they know where their roots are from.
Y eso para mí es algo muy importante, que mis hijas sepan sus raíces de dónde son.
Hay Esperanza has 4 locations across the tri-state, all focused on uniting Spanish speakers. Through showing love to Latinos in Huntington,
Yo llegué soltero.
I arrived here single and wasn't thinking about marriage.
El matrimonio.
Henry discovered a new love.
Well, life is definitely an adventure. I love being married to Henry.
Ha sido también.
It's been a divine purpose of ours that we found here in West Virginia.
A love they both never expected. Now an 8-year-long marriage.
We love the Spanish-speaking people. God has laid it on our hearts to do whatever we need to do. We have a heart and a passion.
And while serving others, they create a safe space for the growing Spanish-speaking population in West Virginia.
Y hacer un trabajo misionero acá.
To do missions here is not easy, but we're devoted to doing it.
Decididos a hacerlo.
Devoción to the language, to God, and to the community.